The Biden administration is playing he say, she say with Trump testing for the Trump juice again.
Well, we don't test it. We listen to public health and scientists, and they tell us that it's the Delta variant.
Well, why in the hell you on TV pretending like you a damn scientist? Can't we hear from the damn scientists?
I don't even understand. Why would they explain?
That's their job. And last time I checked, your black ass ain't got no science degree. Well, I didn't actually check. I'm just guessing.
What they are telling us. I laid out I laid out how contagious it was.
We don't give a fuck what you laid out. We want to hear what the experts laid out.
The answers we get is because they say so without a lot of.
Well, they're the experts. It's not just they. These are scientists.
And your ass is not. And they need to bring their ass up and speak for they motherfucking self. Next!
It appears that some of your decision was partly based on a non-peer-reviewed study from India that looked at vaccines not approved in the U.S. So I guess the question is, why are you using foreign data of non-U.S. vaccines as at least a part of a basis for your decisions here?
We are the United States. We are getting foreign data from Southeast Pakistan. Ain't that a bitch? Next!
All right, but you're leading with the information that the vaccines work, that they're effective, that they prevent, for the large part, hospitalizations and deaths.
So do eating right, exercising, and eating all your Flintstone vitamins.
Are the vaccinated people wearing the masks to protect the unvaccinated people, or are they protecting the vaccinated?
I'm glad we don't have that same questions with condoms. Is the condom protecting the prostitute from the John, or is the condom protecting the John from the prostitute? Next!
We see why it matters. COVID-19 cases and deaths are down by 90% since January.
So you gonna lock a motherfucker down when we got a 90% success rate? That's like taking a batter out the game in the ninth inning when a nigga slugging 900. That is stupid. Next!
The vaccinated people, so if you are vaccinated, when you are vaccinated.
When I'm vaccinated, bitch, was that a joke or a threat? That wasn't funny.
So if you're vaccinated, you're protected. But if you're unvaccinated, you're not.
And that is true. And Dr. Versace backs that up, I think.
The ability of individuals who are infected through breakthrough infections, namely vaccinated people who ultimately get infected, that they are generally without symptoms or minimally symptomatic. However, it is clear that they are capable of transmitting the infection to uninfected individuals.
Dr. Versace say it don't matter if you take the Trump juice or not, you still can become a zombie. And you can bite other people and turn them into zombies too.
And the data that they reported indicates that if you look at the level of virus in the nasopharynx of a person who's vaccinated and has a breakthrough infection, and compare that to the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an unvaccinated person who's infected, they're essentially equivalent.
So why in the hell am I going to take the Trump juice if I can still turn people into vampires?
Which would go along and underscore the fact that vaccinated people who do have a breakthrough infection are clearly capable of transmitting the infection to an uninfected person.
So you can drink a whole gallon of Trump juice, it ain't gonna make a difference. Your ass still can become a zombie. Next!
It works. It's free. And it's never been easier. And it's never been more important.
It's so important that you gotta still wear a football helmet every time you go outside.
The masks are really being put on for vaccinated people in areas of high density disease, such that if they were to get infected, that they knew that they might bring it to somebody who is immunocompromised, somebody who was not yet vaccinated.
So if you are not a zombie and you get the Trump juice, you can still be a zombie and turn other people into zombies still. That's what she's saying. I don't want YouTube to pick up my algorithm because I'm telling the truth.
Dr. Walensky, you can imagine people, confused by the messaging.
Confused? We know she ain't telling the truth. I don't want to say she lying because YouTube might pick up the algorithm and I might be the 13th motherfucker they be investigating. I remember when we was just trying to bend the curve, and now we turned it into
that we are trying to kill this virus entirely.
And you know how the Democrats want to do that, don't you? Well, at least what Joe Biden wants.
All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down.
And he's still talking about shutting this motherfucker down. It looked like that was another thing Donald Trump warned us about that came true.
So I think it's really important to recognize that as we think about the absolute number of people who are getting infected, that is related to the number of people who have disease, the number of people who are vaccinated, and how well those vaccines work. So it is actually quantitatively possible to have 95% protection from hospitalizations and still have a lot of breakthrough infections if most of your population is vaccinated.
So in a land full of zombies with the Trump juice, you mean I can still get bit by one of them zombies even though I got the Trump juice and still become a zombie? Next!
But is there a normalcy? I mean, is the next variant just around the corner? And is that something, you know, that we're always going to be on this stop and start with putting masks on or not?
Yeah, because Trump juice come out with a new flavor every 6 months, like retro Jordans.
So I want to just articulate that this was not news that I expected the American people to welcome. This weighed heavily on me.
What lay heavily on you? That you wasn't going to tell America the truth? You was going to do the L word? That has to weigh heavy on you, especially when lives are at stake.
That this virus has been humbling. I was taking care of patients a year ago. I joined the CDC 6 months ago, and the science continues to change.
Wait a minute, you only been here 6 months and they calling your ass an expert? What happened to the motherfuckers that was doing this shit for the rest of the whole before year? Next! This hoe is not experienced at all.
I just said that Dr. Walensky said just recently in her 20-year career, she had never seen a variant that was so contagious. So this is 20 years of her career.
With 6 months worth of Trump juice experience, we supposed to trust her? Bitch, please. Next!
Dr. Walensky, you said the other day that we're just 2 or 3 mutations away from a variant that can't be defeated by our vaccines.
Like a werewolf can't be defeated with a regular bullet. You got to hit them with a silver bullet. And my baby mama can't be defeated in an arm wrestling match. You got to have monkey strength.
I said, I believe, a few mutations away. You know, the virus is smart. The virus is out to make sure that it can survive, and it is an opportunist. It will go where we are not vaccinated.
It don't seem like the Trump juice is an opportunist to me. It seems like the Trump juice is a little stalkerish, if you ask me. It seemed like the Trump juice need a hug. It seemed like the Trump juice got trust issues. Next! But if you're a crackhead and you need some money, Joe Biden got a little something for you.
We're going to provide more incentives to encourage unvaccinated Americans to get vaccinated.
Well, I can pay you $200. I can pay you double to shut the fuck up and leave me alone about the Trump juice.
That starts with paid leave to get the shot.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur, so I got to let myself off. So you got to pay me double. I want $100 for taking a day off, and I want $100 for letting the nigga take a day off.
Thanks to the American Rescue Plan, the federal government is fully reimbursing any small or medium-sized business that provides workers with paid time off to get vaccinated.
I don't think my grandmother is going to let her crack dealers out of the crack spot to take some Trump juice. My grandmother don't give a damn about no rescue plan. As a matter of fact, if one of her crack dealers try to leave a crack spot, y'all gonna have to have a rescue plan for him because his ass gonna get pistol whooped.
So today, I'm calling on all states and local governments to use funding they have received, including from the American Rescue Plan, to give $100 to anyone who gets fully vaccinated.
You can take that $100 and wipe my baby mama monkey ass with it. Next! You can't even kind of crackhead with $100. Next!
Speaking of time, when is the FDA going to authorize the full approval of vaccines that have been on emergency authorization so far? The president the other day said it's the fall, but the FDA has put out that it might be January 2022. Why is it taking so long?
So the FDA is saying one thing and Joe Biden is saying another thing. So who in the fuck we supposed to trust? The FDA or Joe Biden?
I don't know the FDA's timeline or plans. I will leave that squarely with the FDA.
Well, some of us don't have the means to talk to the FDA. So why don't you tell us what the FDA told your ass?
Are you for mandating a vaccine on a federal level?
Hell yeah. And she speaks for Joe Biden.
Democrats all, they're shut down so tight and they're dying. They're dying.
And they're trying to shut us down again, and people not. They living. They living.
That's something that I think the administration is looking into. It's something that I think we're looking to see approval of from the vaccine. Overall, I think in general, I am all for more vaccination. But I have nothing further to say on that except that we're looking into those policies.
Policies to lock this motherfucker down. Next!
I know the pain people who get vaccinated. It might sound unfair to folks who've gotten vaccinated already. But here's the deal.
That's too damn bad. And if you ain't got the Trump juice, you better hurry up and get the Trump juice and get that $100 before we take it away and force the Trump juice in your ass. You're going to get it one way or the other. We can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. Make a choice.
It's time to impose requirements on key groups to make sure they're vaccinated. Excuse me.
Well, nigga, make sure one of them groups is inside the White House. As a matter of fact, make sure they're inside the White House office.
Every federal government employee will be asked to attest to their vaccination status.
Well, I don't work for the federal government, but I do get a federal government unemployment check. Do that count? Plus, I'm not the only one not trying to take the Trump juice.
It needs to be an individual choice, and we need to decide what's best for our families.
Christy Rasmussen is a nurse at Duke Regional Hospital who has not gotten her COVID vaccine, and she's prepared to lose her job if it comes to that.
And I'm prepared to lose my channel by explaining the risk, because somebody got to talk about how Joe Biden is threatening America.
Anyone who does not attest or is not vaccinated will be required to mask no matter where they work, test 1 or 2 times a week to see if they've acquired COVID, socially distance, and generally will not be allowed to travel for work.
Ooh. Do we get our own bathroom and our own water faucet? You know, like the niggas back in the days used to get it in the Jim Crow era, Jim Crow 1.0. Next!
But why is it then, Dr. Walensky, that such a high percentage of medical personnel are not taking the vaccine?
That's because they know the truth about Trump juice.
I think it's really important to understand that everyone has a different reason for either wanting the vaccine or not wanting the vaccine. So this is not about, why is this demographic not getting it? Some people haven't had access. Some people haven't had time off. Some people don't understand its benefits.
It's not the people administering the Trump juice. They know why they don't want to take it.
We're still hearing that people are unable to get time off from their employer to get vaccinated. Well, this is unacceptable.
Especially the people that's refusing to take the Trump juice, that's giving out the Trump juice where the Trump juice is at. They is irresponsible. Next!
Now, the Delta variant isn't making kids any sicker per se, is it? Because the statistics, as the studies have come back from children in COVID, from the UK, what did we learn there? Some 99.995% of the 470,000 children in England infected survived. I mean, that's an incredible survival rate. The Delta variant isn't making kids any sicker, is it?
Kids can take Trump juice and sleep that shit off.
And it's like, as an example, I have a young son. He also tested positive. By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just went away. Young people, I guess it's their immune system.
And hopefully one day my baby mama will do the same, and I guess it will be my hitman. Next!
Why is the CDC not looking at the emotional impacts and the other physical impacts that having a mask on a child as young as 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 years old? Nobody seems to be talking about the emotional or physical impacts that having a mask on a child for that long is having, and the CDC should be looking at this. Why are they not?
Probably because they don't give a fuck. They don't give a damn if your kid is going crazy or not.
We don't have any evidence that is doing so, and that's really great.
The motherfuckers ain't got no evidence because they ain't got no data. If you have some data, that means you have to do a study. And them motherfuckers ain't studied shit. And YouTube, I said motherfuckers. I didn't say scientists.
You know, we are following that very carefully.
Y'all are following kids going crazy off of football helmets just as much as Don Lemon is following hot pieces of pussy walking down the street. It's just not happening because you motherfuckers and YouTube, I said motherfuckers, don't know what effect Trump juice is having on kids.
It's got 21 different names. I could go over it, but to me, Corona means Italy. China is China, and it came from China.
Trump juice, made in China, now in kids flavor.
But those are cases, right? Those aren't hospitalizations and those aren't deaths. Do you have a percentage of kids, young kids, hospitalizations and deaths?
Hell no, they don't. But they got studies to say they do.
Because it happens. People have it and it goes. Get the kids back to school. We got to get the kids back to school.
What I will say is that certainly the kids do better than adults do.
Bitch, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
We want to make sure that our kids stay in school wearing a mask, and then when should the vaccines become available for our children, to vaccinate them to keep them safe and healthy.
So the teachers union is going to have a fundraiser to give your kids the Trump juice. It's going to be disguised as a fairy tale book reading with the fairy tale gay dudes reading your kids' book, and they're going to give a cup around with the Trump juice in it, and all the kids going to take the Trump juice at the fairy tale gay book reading thing.
If all kids in a classroom were vaccinated, would there be a need to wear masks?
You know that bitch ain't going to answer that.
We have always said that our guidance has to be taken to the local level, and this is, I can imagine a situation where a school system might have all of their teachers documented and vaccinated, all of their children in a high school documented as vaccinated, and very little disease in the community. Right now, we don't have a lot of situations that are like that, but I could imagine a situation like that, and boy, do I hope we get there, as schools start to open and we have more and more people vaccinated and disease comes down.
Bitch, what in the hell that got to do with football helmets?
What's the scientific basis for masking young children?
It's not scientific. It's political.
These kids go back to homes where they have parents, they have immunocompromised parents, they have other children in the household. So really what we're trying to do is prevent spread in the schools and in the community.
And that is your scientific answer. Next! I'm more of a scientist than this bitch.
I hear from a lot of people that say, there's one thing and then another thing. And we hear it about vaccinations and masks, but we also hear it about, for example, one woman wrote in, my in-laws live in Austria. They cannot come here to see their 6-month-old baby because of the EU travel ban. Even as migrants come across the southern border from other countries with more COVID and worse vaccine performance, and they're allowed in.
Well, tell her to get Trump juice, pay a coyote to smuggle her over here, get caught by the Border Patrol, get over here scot-free of charge, and get a stimulus check.
Sarah Carter, who encountered a group of migrants who were so sick crossing the border, they needed immediate medical attention.
And an immediate stimulus check to go with her immediate medical attention.
Border Patrol is overwhelmed with all the processing, and now we're seeing COVID cases increase, especially amongst detainees that are coming across the river and that are being in custody with Border Patrol. We're seeing Border Patrol agents that are being affected by COVID because of this.
Border Patrol lives don't matter. At least that's what the Democrats say. As a matter of fact, AOC tried to say a couple of y'all tried to sexually assault her when she was trying to visit the border last time.
So that's just a perfect example of what's taking place now because of these open border policies that the administration is allowing.
And we know what administration is that. That's the administration with all the experts.
We're working at the CDC to provide technical assistance.
Technical assistance? What the fuck is a technical assistant? I would like to provide technical assistance instead of paying child support. Benjamin Groves, I'm going to give my baby mama some technical assistance.
Shout out to Margot from Ben Groves.
With your donation. That means she ain't going to get a dime.
They've had a little bit of sickness here. He's been sick. There's another child here that's sick. But they've been giving them some hydration with Pedialyte, with electrolytes, and some asthma medication. I'm going to get them walking up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to contact Border Patrol so that we can get someone down there to find that girl that's passed out on the road.
Well, 9 times out of 10 is probably Trump juice, and 1 time out of 10 is probably a bad experience with some Mexican tequila. James Wolfe. If you ever go south of the border, don't drink the Mexican tequila.
But do you know the surge, how the surge of illegal immigrants with COVID is affecting the overall rate?
She would if she watched Fox News. If she watched CNN, she would think the border is another summer of love, but it's the year of love, or the Biden administration of love.
She's feeling very sick. Obviously, she has an extensive nosebleed. I'm, going to sit here with her. We've already called the doctors.
Wait a minute, some American doctors? I thought our American doctors had their hands full with American patients. Where in the hell they get these extra American doctors from?
It sounds like the percentages down there on the border are astronomical.
And getting more astronomical by the day. But Joe Biden say it's nothing to see here.
There's just not enough people working, manpower, to process the need here at the border. I mean, I don't even know what we need to show here to express what's going on here. The humanitarian crisis, the national security crisis, the child crisis, the migrant crisis. There's just not enough people to help with the needs of everybody here.
The Border Patrol shouldn't be certified medical experts. They should be there arresting people, not protecting people. Even though some Trump Jews coming over from south of the border, the Biden administration is still blaming people like us. And me. Joe Biden don't like people like me.
Yeah, I would say that the percentages in the southern part of this country are really quite high, and I don't necessarily think we can attribute all of that to what's going on at the southern border. I think what we really need to do is spend our time getting our communities vaccinated, to getting our individuals vaccinated to prevent disease from transmitting in our communities.
Joy's Variety Shop is not worried about nobody transmitting no diseases in her community. Matter of fact, you can go on Joyce's Variety website and buy all kind of shit. And one thing you can't buy is Trump juice. Next!
Around here, which vaccine is best against the Delta variant?
All of them. Take all of them. As a matter of fact, take all of them at one time. Next! They're all good for you.
Which kind of leads to that question about data and details. I mean, it's been a long time, and you have a lot of 170 million people or 64. Don't you guys have a lot of data as of this point?
Well, all that time, you motherfuckers ought to have enough data to be professional experts.
I mean, are we going to have an NFL season, an NHL season, an NBA season?
We better. Westbrook just went to the Lakers, and the Raiders is playing in Vegas. We better have a damn football and basketball kickoff.
Look, all he does is talk about shutdown.
Well, he needs to shut the fuck up. Because we need this football and basketball season to start. I need to bet my grandmother, her sorry ass Cowboys, not making the playoffs again.
I am really hopeful that we will.
Bitch, me too. I'm planning on going to the Staples Centers and the Vegas to turn up. We better. Hopefully.
We can do so in a matter of weeks. If we all get vaccinated.
You know what? Take my Staples and my Vegas trip off my bucket list. Next! If I gotta do all that shit, I'll be watching it on TV. I'll be watching the cardboard boxes of fans in the audience.
Israel is already doing a booster for people over 60. Are we going to do that?
Nigga, did you just speak French?
When the data demonstrate that we are ready to give boosters, the government will be ready. We are planning right now.
Trump Juice Part 3, coming to a door near you, because we're going to knock on the door and make your ass take it. You already took 2. You might as well take the 3. What is the worst thing could fucking happen? What you think? You're going to turn into a zombie? I wonder who in the hell is behind all of this.
Trump Tower, I said, hey, science and innovation is a great thing. You should be a leader who drives innovation. And that conversation was about a broad set of things in energy, in health, in education. Pick things you want to do that are big, HIV.
Wait a minute. Did you just say the V word, Jan Aquino? J.A., I know this nigga didn't just say the V word on my channel. I hope the YouTube algorithm don't pick that shit up.
And then the second time I saw him was the March after that, so March 2017 in the White House. In both of those two meetings, he asked me if vaccines weren't a bad thing.
And what you tell him?
Why aren't we getting vaccines out in Africa for diarrhea, for respiratory disease? Why don't we have a vaccine for malaria? Those are the things that I push forward.
Jeffrey Yance said he don't give a fuck what you push for it. He not taking the Trump juice. He don't give a fuck what flavor it come in. Jeffrey not taking it.
Because he was considering a commission to look into ill effects of vaccines, and somebody, his name is Robert Kennedy Jr., was advising him that vaccines were causing bad things. And I said, no, that's a dead end. That would be a bad thing. Don't do that.
You know what's causing bad things? My grandmother at midnight in the back of a Regal with a pistol. That's causing bad things. Julius C. Wright know my grandmother do bad things because Julius C. Wright is my grandmother's favorite name. Bill Gates and Trump juice is just like my grandmother in drive-by shootings on Bloods.
I wouldn't say I get angry, but I'm really impatient that we're not moving as fast as I'd like.
Like my grandmother is not doing as many drive-bys as she like. Speaking of drive-bys, if you don't want my grandmother to do a drive-by on your house because you got that shit up in your system and she think you a zombie, you need to get one of these shirts that let my grandmother know that your ass ain't a zombie. I don't want to say what this shirt say because YouTube might pick up the algorithm and said I'm spreading false information about some shit that's not real. So you can read the shirt and you know what the bottom say. And I don't want to show the bottom again just in case YouTube got some visual algorithm. But if you want to support this channel, you want to give a donation to get one of these shirts, give me your name, your size inside the Cash App, and where to send it to. And your zombie safety shirt will be in the mail. You better get it because my grandmother is zombie and blood hunting. She don't get along with zombies or bloods. So if you're a zombie, you better be on the fucking lookout. You need one of these shirts if you're not a zombie. Don't get the Trump juice. I said Trump juice because if you say any other word that start with a V, they're going to block your channel. You can't say vote or vaccine. Oops, I said it. Let me end this video quick before they algorithm catch up with me.
The $25 donation for the shirt is for a good cause. None of it is going towards child support. Some of it is going towards my hitman, and half of it is going on weed. Just in case they try to say I'm going against the grain, I want you to hit the link below and subscribe to my other channel. I probably got to do clean comedy on that channel because I ain't got no strikes on that channel. I got one on this channel. This video might be too. Subscribe to the link below.